Okay, Pam, now we're going to look at your full swing with an iron. The first step in swing analysis is not to look for fundamental flaws in the swing, but the first step is to look for flaws in ball flight. You could have the worst swing in the world, but if the ball is always doing what you want, then you have no problems. So the only reason to make an adjustment in something you're doing is because we need to make an adjustment in what the ball is doing. When you first hit, and the picture on the left is the video I took before we began working on adjusting some of the fundamentals, and the one on the right was on our second day when you were hitting the ball really well. Now, the ball flight that you had at the beginning on the first day, the one that I first saw, was a very low and left shot. You had trouble getting the ball up in the air. And so I wanted to look for things that correlated to that type of ball flight. The first thing that I saw that I wanted to adjust was the grip that you had. And one of the things that I saw was that you had a very strong grip. And what that means is that both hands were rotated underneath the club. And that will tend to cause the face of the club to come into the golf ball shut down. It'll be lower lofted, and it will be aiming left. And so one of the things I wanted to do was adjust your grip. The picture on the left is your grip at the beginning of the first day, and the picture on the right was on the second day. I've drawn red lines off of both your right hand and left hand. On the right hand, the arrow is pointing, it was drawn from the big knuckle of the forefinger down to the second knuckle. And then on the glove, I drew a line from that little blue decal on the back of your glove. One of the things that you can see when you look at both grips is that I had you adjust your hands more on top of the club. This small change was very important to do, and even though it was a small change, it had a dramatic effect at the club's position at impact, so that when your club came into the golf ball, the loft of the club was more appropriate, and it was aiming more in the direction you wanted. So changing your grip was a big part of why you hit the ball better. So as you continue to practice and work on your game, if you see that your ball flight starts going low and left again, then be suspicious that your hands might have slipped back into the older position, and get those hands a little bit more on top. Now, the other thing that we can see from these two pictures is that we talked about it's important to have shaft lean, where the shaft is leaning towards the target and the hands are in front of the golf ball. On the left of the first day, because of your strong grip, a lot of people with a really super strong grip where the hands are way under the club tend to put the hands too far in front of the golf ball. And you can see that when we adjusted your grip, it was more comfortable for you to put the hands more in a straight line with the left arm. And so your hands are actually in a better position. They're not quite so excessively forward. And that also allows you to have a little bit more loft at impact. Here I have you at impact, and the first thing I notice is that you can actually see the club face on the left over-rotating. A lot of that comes from two things. One is your grip was too strong, and therefore it over-rotated the club, making it go low and left. Also, this particular club, your older club, was too weak. The shaft was too weak, and it twisted too much. And so it was difficult to place the club face on that ball with a strong and stable shaft so that the club face would be positioned where you wanted it to. If you put any kind of swing speed in that particular club, it would be an erratic contact. And your new club is stable, it's strong, it's a very good club, and it returns that club face a lot more solid and square. I like to begin my my swing analysis usually at the impact position, because it's the most important, because everything that ball does, how far it goes, how high it goes, how much curve it might have, is all a direct response to the laws of physics and motion that exist at the moment of impact. Your impact position in both the first day and the second day are very similar. You have your weight on that left side, and I think I mentioned that the average pro will have 85% of their weight on that left side. Very good right there. That's a very good position. You're solid on that left side there. So there wasn't that much difference between the beginning of your full swing work on day 1 and day 2. Those are very good. This is the 3 position, and this is when the hands are about shoulder high. I've drawn a box from the center of your ankles up to the top of your head to look kind of where your weight distribution is at the 3 position. And so one of the things that I talked about was the importance of not swaying to the right and staying anchored on that left side. And there is a little bit of a difference in the one on the right. You're doing a much better job in day 2 of staying anchored into that left leg. You move just a little bit more to the right and sway just a little bit more to the right in day 1. So that's going to allow you to keep your low point in front of the ball on your downswing, so that you'll have an easier time of bumping that ground and having your little divot in front of the ball, so that you can compress the ball and get it up in the air. This is the 4 position. This is at the top of the swing, top of the backswing, and you do have just a little more. You've taken it back just a little further with the new swing, which is going to give you a little bit more power. So very good position. We drew a line straight up off your left foot. You can see how you're doing. You're on that left side better, planting that left leg into the ground. You're rotating your right hip better, so, which gives you more turn and more hip turn and more shoulder turn. Is going to give you more circular power to hit the ball with a little bit more club head speed. Now we're going to look at some of the post-impact positions, and I have your second day swing on the left, and I've got Grant Wade on the right. Grant Wade is known by many players as having one of the best swings in golf. He's also developing a strong reputation, being one of the best instructors of tour players. You can see how Grant has his arms fully extended, in that both his left and right arm are straight. They're right in front of his chest, his sternum, as he extends through the ball. And as you come through, your right arm is starting to bend and fold. Your left arm and your elbows are separating a little bit. The other thing that is important to point out is that your left hand is above your right hand, and Grant's left hand is underneath his right hand. So he has crossed his wrist as he releases the club through impact. This is something that we would work on the next time we meet to get the proper kind of release through the ball. That also will give you a lot more distance, more pop on the ball. Here we're looking at the final finish of the swing with the driver. I like your position. You're solid on your left side. You're facing the target. Shoulders are facing the target. The only thing that's a little bit different in Grant's finish than yours is your back foot. You don't turn your right hip towards the target. You can see where Grant's right knee is almost up to his left knee, and you're hanging back a little bit. So you need to have a little bit more turn and finish on the tip of this toe and have your shoelaces facing the target as well. So everything is rotating to the finish. In closing, I want to tell you how much I enjoyed working with you, and I like the way you worked on the fundamentals. When next time we meet, we'll move it down the road a little bit further and add a few more fundamentals to your swing. But overall, it was very good. You have a good, solid foundation of fundamentals to build on, and we're just going to add one more piece at a time.